What happened? What happened? What happened?
What?
Oh, you said uh-oh.
Oh, no, I said, did I?
I said, oh, is what you said.
Oh, I said, oh.
2 minutes ago, you were just talking about having technical difficulties and how everything's been going smooth.
How we haven't had any technical difficulties, and then
That's
I
what I'm
jinxed
talking
it.
about.
Yeah, but
So
no,
when you go,
everything's good.
Oh, that instantly puts me on.
Everything seems to be in order right now. So,
Hello and welcome to the Freemasons podcast with your hosts, Right Worship Brother George Mudry.
and Worshipful Brother Ken.
We're up here today and we're doing episode 217, Garibaldi.
Yep.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah, his life and times.
Life and times. But first,
We have new Instagram followers, which I must pull up because I did not prepare. Because
while you're doing
who
that,
wants to do that?
for everybody who is in the 900 club to 1,000 club, I have been getting your addresses, so they are being written down so that we can send out the challenge coin as soon as it's done with production.
Yep.
And we're going to get that going.
Hey, and don't forget to subscribe on YouTube if you like watching us live or listening to us live. If you subscribe on YouTube and you click the notification bell, you will be notified when we do this.
Bingo.
Yes, sir. So over on Instagram, we've got some new followers. We've got Baby Steve Peppercorn.
What the fuck?
I don't know. Cool profile pic, though. Scott
right.
Gleason, Nathan Sinnett, Roderick.
Is that one if he's related to Jackie Gleason?
Gleason? I don't maybe. I don't know.
One of these days, Alice. One of these days.
Straight to the moon. Roderick, he was the first space traveler. La Crisis, 1995. Bill Chisholm and Bob First. Hey, we know Bob First.
We do.
Brother, thank you for following us.
Too many YouTube to go through, and I'm not going to go through Facebook. Just want to thank everybody.
Lazy.
I am being lazy today. I want to get to the meat and potatoes of this one.
Okay, I could really go for some meat and potatoes right now, by the way.
Ken's drinking, what is that shit?
This is Redneck Riviera. Whiskey, small batch whiskey with vanilla, honey, smoothness, and a subtle oak finish.
Honest to God, we should get alcohol sponsors because, I mean...
Work hard, play hard.
I'm drinking Fireball. I'm lazy. Want a little burn in my belly.
That's gross. Not a fan of any kind of cinnamon liquor or cinnamon whiskeys. I can't.
Bad
can't
experience?
do it. No, I mean, it's just, it doesn't do anything for me. Like that sugar, it makes my teeth hurt. It does, dude.
What?
It's like, yeah, I don't know if I just have like really porous teeth or something, but if I drink something super sugary, like ice cream, I can go to town on ice cream. But if I drink something, if there's a liquid in my mouth that's super sugary, it makes my teeth physically ache. I can't be the only one in the world. Somebody back me up on this one.
Yeah, you said your fucking teeth.
No, they do.
All right.
It's a
All
thing,
right,
man.
whatever.
Look it up. Google
To
it.
each their own.
It does happen to me.
Lead it, Ken.
All right, brother, right hand to arms.
2 arms.
Ready?
Ready.
Aim.
Aim.
Fire good fire, fire all. Together, brother. Vivat, vivat, vivat.
Oh, you know, you're right. My teeth are actually bothering
Yeah,
me.
see, I told you.
No, they're not.
Psychosomatic.
Anyway, let's get started on Garibaldi. And again, one of our favorite places to pull information is the Grand Lodge of British Columbia and Yukon.
Yeah, and Wikipedia. You know,
And Wikipedia, but Wikipedia, whatever with Wikipedia. Sometimes it's hit or miss.
it's true.
So here we go. Let's get into this. Garibaldi, who was he? He was an Italian Freemason. And this is pulled from an article right from there. It says it was the 13th of March, 1848, when Garibaldi left Latin America, where for 15 years he had been a leader in fighting for freedom. On that occasion, his last words were for the brothers of Les Amis de la Patrie Lodge of Montevideo. My dear brother, he wrote to Adolphe Villiant, as my engagements prevent me from carrying out my desire to take leave in person of my dear brothers from the lodge, I beg you to be good enough to pass on, at their respectable meeting, my goodbyes, my wishes for their happiness, and my hope that, Wherever I may be in the world, I will remain their devoted brother, always ready to dedicate myself to the sacred rite to which I have the honor of belonging.
He was a cool guy. I'm going to put him in Joe's seat. There we go.
Bingo. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, he's a good friend of ours.
I'm a little short, so I can't pat him on the head.
He's about to scale, I think. Sort of. He's got like a Joe beard, too, so it kind of works.
Continuing on. Never could words be more revealing and prophetic for Garibaldi. Joining Freemasonry was certainly not a chance.
Not by chance?
Ephemeral. Ephemeral?
Ephemeral.
Ephemeral.
Ephemeral means like transient, like not a...
It's not his fault you can't read.
Yeah.
Ephemeral episode, but a pondered and binding choice made halfway through his life and consciously kept until his death. Mm-hmm. Side note, do you know if I grow a mustache I could speak Italian?
Boppity boopity.
Boopity boppity, boppity boopity. And then there's this.
Thank God our worshipful master
right
decided not to come up today.
This is Italian too.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I can't wait till worshipful brother Joe comes up here. He's going to beat the hell out of you. A real Italian, not Dan the Italian.
Can he get down this low?
Oh, he can. Yeah, he's about as tall as me. He's actually taller than me, I think.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it's
all right.
Yeah, I don't know, he's gonna have to knee you in the face or something.
All right. The Masonic organization, wrote Mola, was thought of by Garibaldi as a network able to unite the otherwise dispersed forces of the Italian renewal from the inside by forming new leaders able to look to the boundless horizons opened up by progress in the sciences, medicine, chemistry, physics, anthropology, etc., rather than become small-minded through the petty struggles for power, but from the outside by placing those leaders in an intellectual circuit whose pillars of Hercules, once Italy was unified, were a European federation, a formation of great ethnic linguistic systems, Anglo-Saxon, Latin, Slav, etc., and finally, worldwide unity of humanity kept together in a brotherly way by constructive ideals.
Yep. So Brother Garibaldi was definitely not like somebody who was a Freemason in name only. He was an adherent to the values. And if you listen to what he came to respect and thought was necessary in a leader, they're very reminiscent of the liberal arts and sciences, which are taught to us as part of the fellowcraft degree. So he saw it as a real system.
I also wonder if this is where the whole New World Order shit comes from, because
It
what
could
he's
be
basically
unifying Italy and
unifying Europe. He said where Italy was unified, where a European federation, the formation of a great ethnic linguistic systems.
Kind of like the EU, only probably he would have designed it in a slightly different way. But yeah, I mean, it's a good idea.
It is a
on
good
the
idea.
face of it, right? As long as you're not trying to absorb everyone's culture and
what he was basically saying up here is from the inside by forming new leaders able to look to the boundless horizons opened up by progress of the sciences. In other words, don't be. And he says right here, rather than become small-minded through the petty struggles of power.
Right.
We know this is one of the downsides of human nature. Power.
Yep.
Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And that is, I mean, we see it even to this day. We haven't, as human beings, evolved past that desire and lust for power and money. But he was a thinker. He was an
Innovator.
Innovator. Thank you. He was
And a philosopher.
He was somebody who truly believed that if we get past all the petty bullshit, we can live all together in harmony under one federation. And it's the
United Federation of Planets, perhaps.
it's a noble idea, but realistically, people aren't ready for that shit. They're really not. They're too petty and caught up in their religion and their borders and their bullshit that they just don't want it. And
I think, like, philosophically, if you ask anybody, they're going to say, yeah, we should, all get together and there should be harmony and peace throughout the world. But, the devil's in the details.
Right. And the other part of it, too, is it's not so much the whole, you're this religion and I'm that religion and, this is our land and that's your land. I mean, part of it boils down to think about it financially to be able to like blend finances. I mean, there's money back then too, but I mean, think of it financially of trying to just have everybody. Yeah, we're just gonna get rid of this monetary system.
I mean,
and
that's what he did in Italy. Italy was basically a collection of city-states, and they had their own economic systems and their own currencies back then.
But on the flip side, though, they also had they still identified as Italians.
Yes, as Italians and also as
I'm from Milan,
Yep.
but Rome, they still consider each other Italians, right? And that's been since time immemorial. When the Roman Empire was around, Italy was Italian. I mean,
well, Italy was it was Rome.
It was Rome,
you're
right?
A citizen of Rome.
You could even go to when the Byzantine Empire came about. That was basically they didn't. I don't even think they called themselves the Byzantines or the Byzantines. If you were gonna fight me with
linguistics,
they didn't identify until that with the Byzantine Empire, the Byzantine Empire. Until much, much later in time when it was official that the Roman Empire was they were just the Eastern Roman Empire for a very long time. And I think it was Constantine who moved the capital of the Roman Empire to Constantine, which is where you get
Constantinople.
Constantinople. That's where the name comes from. He moved it there.
To northern Africa, basically. Yeah.
Right. So there are certain regions that identify as a certain, Texans. Even if Texas broke off and made its own country, they still identify as Americans because throughout history, they've been very intertwined.
Yeah, it's a very similar kind of dynamic, I think. So, in the same way that you identify both as an Italian and as like a citizen of the city-state of Milan or the city of Milan.
Right.
I mean, Texans are Texans, but they also identify wholeheartedly as Americans. I mean, ask any Texan. So, I mean, I think that's probably the correct dynamic. Like, you don't want to give up your localized, cultural identity, but by the same token, if we're all going to get along, we do have to have kind of we have to agree on a larger system.
And realistically, the United States of America, the Founding Fathers did it right. They did it 1,000% right because each state was different groups. I mean, what was the Puritans were pretty much Pennsylvania?
Like the whole northern seaboard, I think, was puritanical. Yeah, I mean, like the original colonies were very. But
down south, you had down south you had a different belief system. I think they were Protestant, right? There was a different bunch of different. But so each state, I want to call it a colony. At the time, it was a colony.
Right.
Each colony had its own kind of way of doing things. For instance, you got the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Right.
Like the Commonwealth of, I think it's Virginia is another Commonwealth. Yes. And they have a different setup in a sense, believe, right, of the government?
Slightly different governmental setup, but it's still, recognized as a state at the federal level, and they have their rights.
But again, the founding
any state.
And again, the founding fathers didn't come in and say, wipe it clean.
Yeah,
we're going to start fresh. Bang, we're all one.
Yeah, we have a national identity, and that's it.
Yeah, they didn't, and that's the best way to do it. So
it didn't work for Rome. So
it really didn't.
These guys were scholars and Freemasons, and they were like,
Rome shot themselves in the foot by the infighting is what did it to them.
Yeah. Well, also, it's a heavily expansionist empire that kind of got a little bit too big for its britches.
And then what they started doing is well, anyway, we're getting off subject there. But, it is worth underlining that Freemasonry, in its turn, used Garibaldi both before and after his death as an exceptional testimonial and promotion of their ideals. Mm-hmm. Garibaldi, as Fluvio Conti, recounts in an article. That's a cool ass first name. I want to have. Let's change my name.
Fluvio?
I want to be Fluvio.
Yeah, I like that.
It sounds like somebody would freaking put a horse in your bed in the middle of the night. No? Maybe?
Fluvio? I don't know if Fluvio would do that. Giuseppe for sure.
Furio. He was on The Sopranos.
Furio. Yeah.
That's a badass last name.
Flavio.
What's your name? Furio. Oh.
Yeah.
You got to do it like this, though. Furio. Anyway, getting off subject. Garibaldi, as Fluvio Conti recounts in an article published in Hiram in 2002, on the occasion of 120th anniversary of his death, was initiated into Freemasonry in 1844 at the age of 37. Oh, he was older. In La Sille de la Virtud Lodge of Montevideo. Jesus Christ.
Close.
All right.
We really should have had more Show Brother Joe up for this. This would have been like the perfect topic, too. Oh, man.
This was
Sorry, Joe.
an irregular lodge under the Brazilian Freemasonry, which was not recognized by the main international Masonic obediences, such as the United Grand Lodge of England and the Grand Orient of France.
Okay.
That kind of pisses me off. I'm not going to lie. So he wasn't a recognized Freemason, but sure as shit, when he starts doing good deeds, all of a sudden, like, no, we recognize you. No, come on here, buddy.
You're ours.
Go, you're ours. Come on, you're good. Here's a news card. You want the paper?
Yeah.
Come on.
It's just like, if something's from Scotland and it sucks, it's Scottish. But if something is, if there's somebody who's amazing from Scotland, all of a sudden they're British. I think our English brothers may agree with me on that one.
Yeah. Later in 1844, he regularized his position, joining the lodge Les Amis de la Patrie from Montevideo under the Grand Orient of France. Okay, so he went and
his Grand Lodge was not recognized. But.
All right, they are now, though. He was now when he joined the Grand Orient of France. Garibaldi entered Freemasonry during his exile, taking advantage of the asylum which was offered by the lodges to political refugees of European countries governed by despotic regimes hostile to democratic or nationalistic movements. Okay. So he entered Freemasonry while he was exiled, and he took advantage of the protection that he had, I guess, under the encompassment of Freemasonry. It's kind of how I'm...
Yeah, and, obviously we're free thinkers as well, so,
right.
It seems like a good forum to... fraternize with other brothers from other countries that have been crapped on by their own government. Yeah.
All right. So then Garibaldi then attended the Masonic lodges of New York in 1850, in London in 1853-54, where he met several supporters of democratic internationalism. I assume this is a movement that he was talking about earlier, democratic national internationalism, meaning that all countries would be democratic and, each be a part of a grander
federation,
if you
yes.
will. Whose minds were
ambitious, by the way, super ambitious.
Here's where it gets ugly.
I don't like
Either attended the Messiah. Let me move on here. He met several supporters of democratic internationalism whose minds were open to making socialist thoughts their own and give Freemasonry a strong anti-papal stand.
Yeah, usually when you start going against the Pope, probably even in the 1800s, it's...
he's talking about making socialist thoughts, too.
Yeah, well...
So, here's the thing. Socialism in its
There weren't a lot of good examples of socialism falling on its face in the 1800s, so I can kind of see why it might be the first thing you kind of reach out to.
If you actually look into socialism at face value, it's everybody shares, everybody works together.
Right.
But we know that doesn't happen.
Right. Well, there weren't a lot of operative examples of it.
Right.
Demonstrations.
Now there are
failing horribly, but
lots of them.
Yeah, there are.
But at face value, everybody gets an equal share of the pie. Like, it's great. Everybody gets the, equal share. And, but what you end up having is people who, in this, again, human nature, if you can do less and make more, you're going to do less, right?
Right, yes.
So what you end up having is you have the people who are the hard workers making the money, and then you get the people who are lazy sacks of shit, don't want to do anything, and they're still making the same amount of money. And then what you end up having is you have the guy who's busting his ass, like, well, fuck it. Why am I going to try harder? And this guy ain't doing shit. And then it's a domino effect down to there.
Yeah, and then instead of money being the equivalent of power, power is the equivalent of power. So that's when you start having those the ruling class and then the paupers. But
and the ruling class gets fat and rich, and the paupers get shit on,
crapped on by the bourgeois.
So anyway, in June of 1860, the newly conquered Palermo.
Palermo.
Thank you.
There we go.
Was Garibaldi raised to the degree of Master Mason, and then in 1862, the Supreme Council of the Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite, a meeting for Italian Freemasons of Republican and radical ideals, gave him the title of Grand Master. Ew, wow, he was up there.
I didn't know he was a Grand Master.
The Italian Grand Orient, reconstructed in Turin in 1859, and initially dominated by members close to the Cavour, gave, on the other hand, the role of Grand Master to Constantino Nigra, Nigra, Nigra?
Yep.
And only the honorary title of First Italian Freemason to Garibaldi. Accepting the title of Grand Master of the Sicilian Authority, Garibaldi wrote, "I'll cut your throat." And no, I'm kidding. He didn't say that. I willingly take on the supreme office of head of the Italian Masonry, constituted according to the Reformed and Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite. I take it on because it was conferred on me by the free votes of free men, to whom I owe my gratitude not only for trust shown me in elevating me to such a high position, but also for the help they gave me from Marsala to Volturno in the great task of freeing the southern provinces. My nomination as Grand Master is the most solemn interpretation of the tendencies of my very soul, of my votes, of my aims to which I have worked all my life. I assure you that with your mercy and with the cooperation of all brothers, the Italian flag, which is that of humanity, will be the beacon from which the light of true progress will be shed all over the world. Damn.
It's profound.
This guy was a talker.
Yeah.
I suck talking.
I mean, it was probably translated from Italian. But
For me.
He definitely knew bigger words than you.
I was just saying, I'd get up there and be like, I don't know what to say, so thanks, bitches.
Thanks. Here's to you.
I'm
Sounds
joking.
about right.
I'm joking.
Nah, you can make a speech when you need to.
I can. It's got to be pre-written, though.
That's all right.
Yeah, okay, so
As long as you're not writing it.
side note, we have the call them all system, right?
Yeah,
don't call 'em all.
Morningstar does, yes.
Oh, you guys don't have it?
No, we don't use it for some reason.
Really?
But yeah.
So we get the call them all system. For those in other states and countries or whatever, we have a call them all system, which is basically a website that you punch all of your members' lodge or all your lodge members' numbers in this thing. You record a message, and then what it does is it calls them all and it lets them know, hey, there's a meeting on this day and stuff. Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
I tried winging it one day.
Oh, yeah, that doesn't go well. No, I think your masters do a really good job. Steve and, Patrick, both of them do really, really good. And I know they're reading it. And that's
I know
why.
they're reading it because I told them to read it because I would get up there. It took me 15 times to record because I get like, hello, brothers. This is...
Yeah, so this is George. Sorry I missed you. Yeah. Oh, wait.
That's what I do. When I don't know what to say, I just drop an in there at some point. So then you listen to the back. Look, would you like to re-listen to your message before sending it? Sure, I'll lose the way.
No, just consign that to oblivion.
Can't talk. So I'm like, oh, Christ. So finally I got to a point where I write it down. So if I'm going to give a speech, I can talk in public. I don't like to because I get nervous around people, start to clam up and stuff.
Yeah.
But if I have something written, don't ask me to free. Don't ask me to free. Oh, you ever been in a situation where they're like, "Oh, you got to make a speech, man"? You're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, no,
what?
I'm okay at that, depending on
like
what the circumstances. Yeah.
Oh no, I'm
50-50. I'll say I'm 50-50, right?
Freaking
Either I'm going to
Hunt.
nail it and it's going to be great and heartfelt, or I'm just going to stand there and like stare at everybody. It's one or the other.
No, I suck at it. I'm pretty bad at it.
Yeah.
So I have to write everything down. If I'm going to give a speech or I got to say something, I got to write it down.
Sidebar, the one bad thing about the call 'em all is it has to come from some phone number. And usually if the master's sending out a broadcast, he's putting his own number on there. The poor guy gets like 100 callbacks, right? Because it goes to voicemail, they miss the call, and they're like, oh, no, the master was calling me.
Yeah.
Like, take all those calls. That's the only pain in the butt.
Or you get the people who call you back and they're like, I'm at work! Don't call me when I'm at work!
Yeah.
You're like, dude, it was the automated system. It wasn't.
Yeah, it's like, then just don't pick up the
Take
phone.
my number off. All right, calm down there.
Yeah, wow, These are brothers, man.
It was the older guys from Florida. I didn't know that the Grand Lodge loaded it in. So
No.
they're in Florida. They're not in Connecticut. And every week they'd get a phone call.
Okay.
So
All right, well,
they got pissed.
take me off your list.
Take me off your
I get
list
enough
now!
robocalls.
Anyway. Continuing on. In the second half of 1862, the expedition for the liberation of Rome was being prepared. Liberation of Rome.
The expedition for the liberation of Rome. What year was this?
1862. What the hell was going on in Rome in 1862?
Well, I mean, it was still the unification movement, I think. So
I know the French were controlling it for a while, weren't they?
Rome?
Yeah, I thought the French
I think
were.
that was probably well before this.
Oh, all right.
I think this was during the unification movement in Italy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it was not to be interrupted on the 29th of August, where he was wounded in the thigh in a shooting exchange in Aspromonte.
Not even close.
Aspromonte? Aspromonte.
Worshipful Brother Joe, help us.
Garibaldi, accepting the role offered to him by the Sicilian Scottish obedience, demonstrated that in that phrase he identified Freemasonry with the national program and intended to use it as a means of organization and meeting point of various democratic movements. It was not by chance that once arrived in Sicily, he attended the initiation of his son Menotti, the 1st July, and he in person signed, 3rd of July, the proposal of affiliation of the whole of his general staff. Whew.
So that would mean that they all had to have been Freemasons prior to that, right?
I don't think
They're
so.
affiliating.
It sounds
with
like purpose of affiliation of the whole of his general. Oh yeah, then yeah, you're right. Yeah, there were Masons already. I didn't know if that was one of those Mason on site type things.
Yeah, could be.
In the long term, once the fight for national independence was completed, the political plan of Freemasonry was to identify itself with a wider, more ambitious aim, that of liberation and the emancipation of the whole of humanity. All right, so
They wanted to go from unification of Italy to United
take it
Federation
all!
of Planets. Yeah, which is, look, it's ambitious, and it's also, it kind of has that like kind of Italian oomph to it, right? It's like, we're just going to take over the whole world.
So, couple things here. All right, and I know we got conspiracy theorists that think we're NWO and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, this is 1862. This shit does not go on anymore.
No.
Because we have in our charge of an EA degrees to be a peaceable citizen and conform. I'm skirting here.
Yep. Conform with cheerfulness to the laws of the jurisdiction in which you
peaceably
reside, or something
submit.
like
I
that.
believe it what it is.
Something like
peaceably submit to the laws of the land, basically.
Now
so,
that charge varies from jurisdiction to jurisdiction, right? So in other countries, it may not have that language, but yes, here in the United States, and I believe it's pretty ubiquitous throughout the U.S.
And I don't know when that was put into the ritual. So 1862 is a way off from that. I mean, granted, it must not have been in the ritual when in 1776 rolled around.
No,
Just throwing that out there.
Definitely not. No,
But I think that's more of a modern thing, is where you're not going to talk about politics or religion in lodge.
Yeah.
It's,
and you know what? I do have a date with the library in my lodge. We have to clean it up and kind of reorganize it. And in so doing, I'm going to go back through the Grand Lodge. Oh God, what do they call it? The
minutes.
Yeah, but they call it like something special, like the Grand Lodge minutes or the Grand Lodge something.
Gotcha.
But we have them from, all the way back to probably when our lodge was chartered. So I'm going to go and do a little bit of digging and see if I can find when that was changed in our ritual.
That was definitely, there was a lot of parts that were added to the ritual about not doing this and not doing that, because clearly back in 1776 they were absolutely talking about politics in St. Andrew's Lodge number 2.
Or maybe they were just doing it outside of open lodge, but still.
I mean, there was a bar downstairs. I mean,
yeah. I mean, they were openly rebelling against their government. So,
but my point is, right here, you have another example of Garibaldi, was using Freemasonry, and Washington did it too. Let's be real. All of his main officers were Freemasons.
I mean, look, they're
because
really
he trusted them. That's the brotherhood thing. That's the oath we take is to trust and protect one another.
It's not an NWO thing. It's I can trust this other person implicitly type thing. And you know what? They're adhering to the moral compass of Freemasonry. It's not like there's some ancient knowledge in Freemasonry that's saying we need to take over the entire world.
Well, and again, let's just talk about right now. If everything went tits up right now, in the world flipped upside down, who am I going to run to be, to protect one another?
My Masonic brothers.
My brothers. It's just how it's going to happen. Like, I'm not going to go to my coworkers. Definitely not going to my family. I'm going to go to my...
Some might, but...
I'm going to go to my Masonic brothers. Why? Because I know that if George says, hey, we're going to put this army together to protect each other, we're all going to work together.
We got each other's back. Yep.
Exactly. And that's pretty much what Garibaldi in Washington did.
Yep.
Because, again, the other problem is you worry about spies within your rank.
Right. Which was a problem for Washington. It was probably a problem for Garibaldi as well. But, yeah, there were definitely British spies working within the ranks there.
All right.
We know that for a fact.
And traitors was the other worry.
Yep.
I mean, we had the one shitbag in the American Revolution.
Yeah, but you know what? That one shitbag also happened to be a Mason.
That's what I'm talking about. We had the one shitbag.
Always work out. Yeah.
But for the most part, he let his ego get in the way. Because realistically, had he stayed the path, and had he put his ego aside, he'd have been one of the greatest generals in American history.
And had he not ignored his obligation.
Right.
Let's not forget that.
His obligation, he ended up going back to Britain, and he died fucking alone and broke.
Yeah, well, that's just
serves you right.
Yeah. That's what you get.
So, Eric W., greetings from Michigan. Brother's been listening to the show on Spotify and love the show. Hey, a past master of Trenton, another word I cannot pronounce, number 8.
Trenton? That's a pretty easy word to pronounce.
No, the other one.
Oh, it just popped up.
Wyandotte?
Okay. Trenton Wyandotte, number 8? Well, I don't know. We probably both screwed that up.
I had an E at the end of it because we're doing a show about Italians. Wyandotte!
Hey, Wyandotte. Well,
thank you, brother.
Welcome, worshipful brother. Glad to have you.
Dan Valdez, what's going on? It's just seeing your comment because I'm reading this micro stuff here. But
hey, you want to know a secret? You know that key on the lower left-hand corner of your keyboard?
FN?
Well, it's probably to the left of that. You got like an apple or something.
Control?
Right? Yeah, so hold down that and hit the plus key.
I don't want to do that.
It'll increase your font size so that you don't have to squint.
I don't have to squint. I got eyes like a hawk. You found that at the range.
Yeah, not with a rifle.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Maybe with your plastic Glock.
So anyway, kind of back. This is what's been going on. Wyandotte. Thank you for breaking that down.
Wyandotte.
Wyandotte. Perfect. Because I would have totally butchered that like I'm doing this article right now.
Wyandotte.
Oh, let's see here. So, let's see here. Where did I leave off? Oh, here we go. So here's the other problem now. So now, while we're still on this article, he basically affiliated all of his top generals, and then he says, once we take Italy, we're going to take the world. We're going to take the whole of humanity is what he actually said.
Right.
It was the emancipation of the whole of humanity. Now, herein lies the problem. In my opinion, I know we talk about Garibaldi. He was a great guy and all that stuff, but now you're seeing where power is starting to corrupt. Because you have to understand, not the whole of humanity wants to be under this umbrella. Yeah, you think you're doing a good thing by, we're going to bring it under the umbrella of Freemasonry. But, again, you can lead a horse to water, can't make him drink.
Yeah.
So this is where I'm starting to see now he's getting, brass balls, if you will.
I mean, I don't even know if it could be
my opinion.
It could be absolute power. Or it could just be that he wants to help. It's like a genuine, and like given that he's a strong adherent to the moral values of Freemasonry, he probably just genuinely wants to help. But
that's how all bad intentions. That's how all evil people started, with good intentions.
Fair enough. But yeah, it's a much more difficult.
Just remember, Hitler wanted to make Germany great. Now, how'd that work out?
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Pretty bad for him and a lot of other people.
Sorry, did you want to finish your thought? I kind of just...
No, that was... So yes, but you're right. You're right. So a lot of times bad things come from good intentions, and maybe that's the case here. Either way, it's super ambitious. You got to respect the guy for...
It's ambitious.
Yeah.
It was the failure of the venture of August 1862, observed Aldo Alessandro Mola, that led Garibaldi to take up an intransigent anti-clerical stand. What the hell does that mean?
Wow, intransigent. Wow, we're going real deep now. Intransigent is a very big word, and it basically means not going along with your plan.
Okay.
Kind of, I think.
Anti-clerical?
Anti-clerical would be against the clergy.
Okay.
Or clerical.
So
clerical
basically, what Aldo here is saying is he done fucked up.
Yes.
Break it down for everybody.
Yeah.
Basically, from that moment on, it could be seen that the general was more and more convinced of his identification with the position of Freemasonry, which was the main supporter in the peninsula of the inflexible secularism and of war to the death against the Catholic Church. This, I'm sure, led to the schism between the Catholic Church and Freemasonry, because Catholic Church already didn't like Freemasons and they did some shitty stuff, but now here's a Freemason going right back at him.
Yeah, it's not like they need more ammunition here.
He's adding, fuel to the fire.
Yep.
Dude, seriously, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you, Garibaldi? Be nice. He's sitting right next to me. That's why I couldn't talk.
Oh, that's why you're going like this and talking with your hands.
What's the matter? Right here.
What's the matter?
What's the facci? Anyway. So then it continues on here. The political objective of the liberation of Rome from pontifical dominion was obviously at one with the objective to give birth to a secular and democratic state in which the temporal power of the popes was only a memory. At the same time, as Fluvio Conti writes, even inside the Grand Orient of Italy, the democratic component stemming from Garibaldi started to consolidate its presence and impose its own political and ideological choices. It is not surprising, therefore, that the first real Italian Masonic Constituent Assembly, which was held in Florence in May 1864, with the participation of 72 delegates, finally managed to elect Garibaldi with a large majority as a new Grand Master. Okay, so what I'm gathering here, this is a long-ass article.
I love how they have gigantic words in there that you don't understand.
Hey, I'm holding my own here. I'm holding my own
here. So you know it's a real scholarly work.
Right. So what I'm gathering here is when we're talking about the liberation of Rome, it was controlled by the Catholic Church.
Yes.
So what he's talking about is he's going to take Rome back from the Catholic Church.
And make a democratic state out of it.
Which is maybe why Venice is its own little...
Well, not Venice.
Not Venice.
Yes.
Vatican, excuse me. Sorry.
Vatican is its own
Wrong
city.
Yep. That's why it's its own city, and it's literally the size of, I don't know, 5 football fields maybe.
Hey, well, look at Washington, D.C., right? Like the federal government controls that little postage stamp. Right. Whereas everything else is states' rights. In Italy, you've got one unified Italy.
Right.
With a little postage stamp that's ruled by the Pope.
I love how they're going to make D.C. the 51st state when it's actually right in the fucking Constitution, and it says it is the seat of federal government and cannot be made a state.
Wait, hold on. Since when are they going to do that?
Oh, Christ. They were talking about it freaking...
They tried passing anything about that.
Yeah, look it up. They tried jamming it through.
Congress is talking.
Yeah, the House of Representatives. They tried jamming that through. It's a freaking seat of government. How are you going to make it a state?
Wow. There's no reason for that.
Okay. Anyway, dumb shit. Moving on. Sorry, I'm not going to be political. Let's go right back here. Let's see here. As is known, Garibaldi held his position for only a few months. The active clashes between the various Italian left-wing groups were too lively to permit them to come together under the unifying leadership of Garibaldi, as had happened in recent past. So basically, you got two factions who are of the same idea but seem to be battling it out, and they won't go under the leadership of Garibaldi. Is kind of what I'm gathering there.
Yep.
The future Grandmaster, Ludovico Frappoli, saw the nomination of Garibaldi as a backward step back in respect to his heartfelt plan to depoliticize Freemasonry, a plan that aimed also setting up Italy an Anglo-Saxon model of Freemasonry, which was not subject to political party problems. It's already a fatality, Frappoli wrote to Mordoni, commenting on the election of Garibaldi, that circumstances have forced us to choose for Italy a politician as Grand Master, an inconvenience that cannot be tolerated without admitting the function of Garibaldi is the banner of the people, the incarnate myth of humanitarianism, while in other respects of his name is accepted by all. It is because everyone presumes that the general is happy with this important role as he does not concern himself otherwise. Okay, let's unpack that one.
So that's a tough one. If you're a politician and you're well known in politics, well, yeah, no, not so much you.
I'm kidding.
I mean, like, let's say you're a president or a vice president, right? And somebody wants to make you like shunt you in as Grand Master.
Right.
It's a little bit of a conflict of interest, I think.
Okay.
You know, you should really think twice about that. Just like, I mean, I'm sure it's happened in the past, but look, worshipful brother George Washington, same thing. They wanted to make him Grand Master, the first Grand Master of Masons in the entire country.
Yeah.
And he was the one who advocated, you know,
He turned it down,
jurisdictions
though.
for each state, states' rights, that whole thing, right? To be humble and say, no, I'm not going to take over Freemasonry in this area and also be responsible, you know, for the government. I think that's I think it's a conflict of interest, and I think it's a wise move to not do so. That's my take on it.
So I think you have to get to the heart of the man at that point, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because you can't let your feelings get involved in either one. And I'll tell what I mean by that, okay? And I'm just using myself as an example because it's the best thing I can do. Again, I'm Burgess in Naugatuck. You know, I'm a town politician. And there is the Shepherd Salem Lodge there, too, in Naugatuck.
Yep.
If something was to happen where it was like, oh, you know, they want to sell the building and we're, you know, that they want to sell it to the town, blah, blah, blah. I cannot let, and I'm just using an example, I cannot let my personal feelings as a Mason get involved in my political life, nor vice versa. I can't be like, no, the town needs to spend $2 million to save that building. Like, I can't let myself get involved in that.
Right.
At the most,
you should actually bow out.
I would say I would abstain. Walk away. I'm involved in both. I can't. I got to abstain. I let the other members of the council make the decision
because your job is to the people. If you're master of that lodge, your job is to the craft. But if you're
a politician, you're also
a politician. Your job is to the people.
Your job is to the people, and you got to make that distinction.
Yep.
Some people can do it. I can do it. Some people can't.
Yeah.
In this case, and I'm using Garibaldi. And this is just, again, my personal opinion. I never met the man. Again, he was around when Joe was around. Ask Joe.
He's reading an article. He doesn't understand most of the words. You know.
But from my head, and this is the way I'm looking at it, Garibaldi was already a military man.
Yeah, he was
already a military man before he was a Mason. So, in my personal opinion, I think Garibaldi joined Freemasonry knowing he could use it as a weapon in his military life.
Ooh, that's highly
think about what he's doing here. It is circumstantial. I'm just throwing it out from the way I'm looking at it. First off, he made all of his generals join his lodge and affiliate. One, he's talking about using Freemasonry to unify Italy and the whole of humanity. 3, he's looking at it from a military point of view. How can I use this organization to get my military or my aims? That's the way I see it. I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I mean, everything he's talked about so far is Garibaldi himself came out of his mouth. You know,
right? But he's also saying from a, I think he's coming from a good place in that he wants
I
to
do too.
use the ideals of Freemason.
Oh yeah, he's not.
Right.
Yeah, I want to make
trying
he's not doing it maliciously. It's just, again, as we talked about, some people are geared Masonry, some people are geared politically. Some people can differentiate between the two.
Yep.
You know, doesn't make him less of a Mason. I just see how he could use the good tenets of the craft to better his goals for his country as a general, in a sense.
More importantly, how others could see that that's the case, right?
And
conspiracy theorists, I'm sure, would have a field day with this.
I'm sure they would
think that it validates their entire...
Hey, listen, I'm calling it right down the middle, though. That's what we do, you know?
Yeah.
And so you have this guy, the guy who was up against him, Frappoli? Yeah, he basically was saying the circumstances of force chooses a politician. So he is a true-to-life Mason, in my opinion, this Frappoli guy. He wanted to pull Freemasonry out of the whole political thing, whereas Garibaldi shot it in a sense. Right. So he's saying that, you know, he's talking about the incarnate myth of humanitarianism. He's talking about, you know, making all people sing Kumbaya and one world government, and he's saying it's a myth. You can't do it. Kind of like what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
In other words,
he's a little bit more of a realist, and he's trying to keep Freemasonry.
He's trying to keep
separate from politics.
That's
which
what
is
I'm
probably what we would do.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I think he was at this point, you know, at least in Italy, Freemasonry was teetering on the brink of becoming a political movement.
Yeah, or becoming
Frank,
like almost.
Are we live? Yeah, we're live, brother.
I mean, we are. I don't know if you are. Are you? Welcome, brother.
I think Freemasonry at this point in Italy is teetering on political influence and being a fraternity. It's teetering, and it can tip, and we know that that's. I mean, not so much nowadays, but you know, we in our own country, in the United States, we've seen it. Freemasonry kind of teetered along that thing, you know?
It was usually in like the mid to late 1800s where that happened too, where they were playing with that idea. So yeah, I get it.
All right. Actually, Garibaldi has already been said, did not believe that national political events should be separate from Freemasonry. Oh, there you go. At least while Rome remained under the dominion of the popes. Boy, so this guy is, I mean, he's going hard at the Catholic Church. Like, I have disagreements with him, but, I mean, he's basically...
Well, he saw the that particular brand of rule inconsistent with his values. Yeah.
So in May 1867, on the eve of the Masonic Constituent, I can never say that, Assembly Constituent.
What? Constituent?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Assembly in Naples. You know,
what kind of politician doesn't know how to pronounce constituent?
Because
I'm not call them your people.
Because I'm not a politician.
Okay.
Let me be clear about that.
Right.
I
work in
politics, but I'm not a politician.
Okay.
I don't feed people bullshit.
It's a good distinction.
Hey, from Canada, what's going on? Thanks for that. It amazes me that I can tune into. Oh, this is Frank Monday. Tune into a live broadcast without actually. I can't. I gotta look at your computer because I'm going blind over here. Tune into
a live broadcast with actual living feedback, right? So he's amazed that we're like talking to him. We're talking to you right now.
Yeah, we don't do the whole super chat shit where you throw us money. We actually talk to you.
Yeah, we will talk to you
write it
for free.
Yeah. Although I charge Joe, I don't like talking to him.
Yeah, that's okay, Joe.
I request money on Venmo every time he calls me.
Yeah, the whole Apple Pay thing.
No, I'm kidding.
How much money you've been racking up in Apple Pay?
So, let's see here. So, anyway, the Constituent Assembly in Naples, he made a famous appeal to all brothers of the Peninsula. As we do not yet have a country because we do not yet have Rome, so we do not have a Masonic, we don't have Masonry because it is divided. I am of the opinion that Masonic unity will lead to the political unity of Italy. Let in Freemasonry that Roman fasces be made that, notwithstanding great effort, has not yet been obtained in politics. I believe the Freemasons are to be an elected part of the Italian people. Let them put aside their profane passions with the awareness of high mission and the noble Masonic institution as entrusted to them, create a moral unity in the country. We still do not have moral unity. Let Freemasonry achieve this as the other will immediately be achieved. Abstention is inertness. It is death. I urge understanding, and the unity of understanding we will have unity of action. Damn. Yeah, he's basically using Freemasonry at this point as to unify the country.
Was that Garibaldi's words, or was that his opponent's words?
Yeah, it was his.
Okay.
It's him talking.
Okay.
Let's see here. Frank Monday. If Hiram is the widow's son, who is the widow?
His mother.
And and further still, who is the father? And what did you do with Solomon's ring?
He's getting a little conspiracy theory-ish for me.
It's a good question. We'll have to find out. We never even delve into that.
What did you do with Solomon's ring?
What did we do with Solomon's ring?
I just got this cheap one from eBay here. $70 sterling silver. It doesn't summon demons or
anything. On my ex-wife's hand.
Oh, man.
I'm sorry. The shot was there.
Yeah.
I had the shot, so I took it.
Violated one of the... I can't even remember the quote now. Violated one of the most important rules of engagement.
Oh, thank you for the assist. I appreciate it.
The Top Gun rules exist for your safety and the safety of that of your crew. They are not flexible, nor am I.
So I'm just going to fast forward here because we got still a lot to go here. What are we at here? We're at the 55 mark, so yeah, we're closing an hour here. I just want to find out what happened here.
The other thing is Frank Monday. That can be found in the Bible, I believe. The mother and father of King of.
Hey, if you're interested in the research,
I think.
And Frank, if you're interested in the research we did, you can go back to one of our prior episodes where we did who was the real Hiram.
Yep.
And we're not really sure if Hiram was allegory in the Bible or it meant something else. So.
Yeah, I don't know that we really went through his genealogy, but
because I think we found a
historical.
Yeah, again, it's too far back for me to remember, but I think we got into a Huram Abi.
Yeah.
Which was where the potential of Hiram came from. And stop me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there something else about the Epic of Gilgamesh that might have been Hiram or something along those lines?
Yeah, I mean, there was there is talk that, or there is theories around him being not like original to
the Bible.
The canon of the Bible, but it actually came from prior religions, which a lot of kind of mytho-historical figures that ended up in the Bible came from other world religions, and
And hey, check out the Lost Book of Enki. I do that too.
Yeah, and older civilizations. So it's possible that Hiram was as well. But yeah, it's a big question mark, Frank.
I just want to. We were just talking about what he did. I'm going to fast forward here as much as I can through. I want to see what ended up happening here because he's talking about. It's all talking about Freemasonry and promotion, and he was basically pushing for this. In the latter part of his life, his position is that of Freemasonry practically overlapped. It is enough to remember the zeal and ranks of the pacifist movement in the battle that everywhere saw Freemasons in the front line promoting the... Yeah, this is all... He's basically talking about war here. I don't think it ever came to blows, though. I could be wrong. Because then eventually talks about his death here.
Well, we can talk about his legacy.
Yeah.
He is still revered among Masons. I mean, he's revered among Italians as well for all of his...
And I believe he's revered by Italians because he did unify Italy.
Right. Yep. He was part of the independence movement in Italy, and he's...
But hey, if you're interested in this, look up the British Columbia, the Lodge of British Columbia in Yukon. And you can read the article for yourself. So
Yeah.
Frank Monday's interacting with us, so let's do this. I'm interested in what you got to say here. Let's do this for a little while. We got a couple more minutes. So there's an island in southern China called Gulangyu. That was built out of Masons in like 1913. Hundreds of houses and buildings, all with USA regalia and Masonic symbology.
Maybe they were American expats that moved to or were working in China or something at the time. They happened to be Masons and founded a little city there. That's interesting.
Cool. We need to write this shit down because he's got a couple good questions for us here.
Yeah, we'll have to save the chat log.
Actually,
we might have
research this shit. Let's see here. I went there a couple of years ago and explored the island. There was like only one Chinese temple. The rest were all USA. It amazed me.
Interesting.
Don't forget, prior to, I know the big thing is in World War II, the United States basically whoops your mash in World War II, but we were already expanding imperialism during the era of Teddy Roosevelt, specifically the Philippines. So does it surprise me that you're going to see a lot of American influence out there on random islands?
In China? That would surprise me.
Well, he said it's an island near China, or right?
Yeah,
or it's a Chinese island now, but it might not have been back in know Teddy Roosevelt's time here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's southern China or the South China Sea. If it's
That's
the South
probably,
China Sea, it would make sense. But
right,
yeah,
that's where I'm going with it. Sorry to go off topic. Do you have an episode number for the Hiram one? Had a newer brother asking similar questions. It was in the 80s, I believe.
Yeah, I'll find it. Keep talking.
Make me look.
So our man Giuseppe Garibaldi actually has quite the legacy. There's a lodge. I'm sure there's probably a bunch of lodges named after him, but there's one in particular in New York City called the Garibaldi Lodge, and they do an entered apprentice degree all in Italian, from what I understand. We had a couple brothers that went out there. I wish, and on the next episode, when Worship Brother Joe comes out, we'll have to have him tell us about that, because I believe he went to that degree. I haven't had a chance to see it yet. There's also, more locally, a dinner club here in Stratford, Connecticut called the Garibaldi Club, of which I am a member. And it's an Italian supper club. It's a purely social club, but all of the members are Masons. And your dues card actually has a little picture of Giuseppe Garibaldi on it. So
it was from August 3rd, 2019. It was episode 53, The Real Hiram Abiff.
There you go. Look at that. Real time. We're Googling for you.
Yep.
So
that's the episode.
Comment in the YouTube comments, and we will Google live.
Xiamen, it's China. Yeah, pretty cool. Yeah.
Xiamen. Yeah, so it's a Chinese province in the Chinese province. That's interesting.
No shit. That's pretty cool.
Did not know that. I'm going to have to look that one up.
Yeah. There's Teddy Roosevelt. He was a Mason too, wasn't he?
He was indeed.
Yep. Which would make sense while he's...
I think both Roosevelt presidents
Yes,
were.
They were.
Yes. Yeah.
Although
I forget which one went digging on Oak Island. One of them did.
That was the second one. That was Franklin Roosevelt. And he also had a fucking guru or some shaman that was worth him in the White House. True story. He was into all that cultic crap. Like,
okay.
I don't know if I'd have some stranger with a long beard be telling me about my future. It's going.
You are but an old man playing hoopaloo with the wind.
The Masonic Lodge in both Shanghai and Beijing were closed in like the 1950s.
Yeah,
communism.
Well, yeah.
Fuckers.
I mean, Freemasonry definitely.
You tell no secrets behind closed doors.
No, that's not sensitive. Yeah, Freemasonry is definitely not a thing in China. At least it wasn't.
Wasn't in Russia for the longest time either. Any of the
Yeah.
communist countries, they don't like secrets behind closed doors.
I spent 10 days in Shanghai back in 2010, 2012, something like that. And one of the things that I was on the lookout for was Masonic lodges, and yes, I found none.
Yeah, Frank, as far as I know, there aren't any open lodges here in China. No, they shut that shit down.
Yep.
Yeah, no, they shut that shit down because it's communist. They don't, Russia didn't have them for the longest time.
I think Frank probably, and when I was there, it was like a cross between.
You went to China?
I just said that like
Really?
20 seconds
I wasn't
ago.
paying attention to you.
Yeah, I went.
By the way, I'm not a drunk. I want to be clear about this. I have 2 beers here because
Right.
I was drinking my first beer. Ken left his over here. I kind of mouth-tugged it, and now I inherited it because he doesn't want to get the vid.
So what I found when I was there,
don't have
and
the
again,
vid,
this was
so-
a while ago. This is probably
paranoid.
10 years ago or something that I was in China. But what I found was everyone under the age of about 30 or so were
Sure.
loved America, and like they were very capitalist in nature, right? But anybody over that age kind of gave you the stink eye. So it was like they were kind of like indoctrinated more into that communist ideology. But I think the younger one, and correct me if I'm wrong, Frank, you've obviously spent more time there than me.
I'm sure the Tiananmen Square incident didn't help the fucking cause either.
I mean, that was
What do I know?
before all that. But yeah, I mean, you got the folks that remember that kind of stuff and the folks that don't. So yeah, it's an interesting country though. It's a great culture. I love it there. I really, really want to go back. It was it was a lot of fun, and like the food was amazing, and the people were super nice. At least the ones that chose to be super nice. Either love you or they hate you.
I mean, flip side of it though, like I don't know where I've heard this, but I think that people in other countries are more friendly than the United States.
You mean in general?
Not in general, but like where services rendered, and
well, certainly more so than in this part of the United States, because we're all kind of we have a reputation for being jerks here.
Well,
like
we also
New
got
York City.
We got Boston up a little bit north, and we got New York down south. Like that's too.
Yeah, but we have a reputation for being angry people, and like not really like talking to neighbors. You go down south, for example, and it's like everybody's waving at each
Southern
other
hospitality,
and
baby,
talking to each other in the grocery store, and
how you doing? Good morning.
Why are you talking to me? Right?
Yeah,
we have that reputation.
See, but I'm not like that though. I say, hey, there's somebody. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. Hey,
I do too. I was like walking in the building. I was going around a corner, and there was an older gentleman coming around the corner. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Watch your step over there. It's a little icy. He's like, oh yeah.
He says,
try not to be a
English. This
jerk.
is so cool talking to somebody who's actually in China. An English teacher in Beijing. I've run across a couple of Masons, but just fellow travelers.
Okay.
The common man here does not does appreciate. Oh, does the common man here does appreciate America and the idea of freedom.
Yep.
Where are we broadcasting from? We are broadcasting from Connecticut.
Yep, an undisclosed location in Connecticut. Actually, everybody knows where we are. We're in the city of Seymour in Connecticut, in the United States of America.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I'm
and
gonna get rid of Giuseppe Garibaldi because he should not be involved in this anymore.
Yeah, I know. You're going to piss him off. He's going to try to freaking unite the world. Yeah. Get rid of him. You got to go. Say bye-bye.
Bye, Brother Garibaldi.
And I don't know. I think people in general across the world, generally care, are nice. They're nice people. It's when you start adding governments and money to it is when problems arise.
Wow. And
Connecticut, the heart of the republic. I would go with more of the
I don't know if this
asshole
is
of the nation.
This is kind of the I don't know. I'm struggling.
Sweaty top of the butt crack, if you ask me.
Struggling to come up with an anatomical analogy here. I guess we would have to be like the left tear duct of the republic or something. Like it's not terrible, but it kind of sucks.
It's not bad here. I just like to be funny.
Yeah. Heart of the republic. Oh.
But anyway, Ken, what do you say?
Yeah, I think
we've had enough fun.
I think we've done well. I think we put a nice point. You know what? I'm really looking forward to Worshipful Brother Joe coming up on the show because maybe we can revisit this topic a little bit because I know he's very, very knowledgeable about Brother Garibaldi. So
I just got a text message. Kids have a 2-hour delay. For what?
I don't know. The streets are pretty good.
2-hour delay for what?
Yeah, well, call your superintendent and yell at them or something.
I used to walk to school.
There we go.
Uphill.
Yep.
Both ways.
Yeah. And you kept
with a shoe and a boot, and they called me Shabooty.
Yeah, and you had a hot potato in your pocket.
Yeah.
Right, to keep your hands warm, and then when you got to school, that was your lunch.
Yes. That's absolutely right.
Yeah. Shabooty. Jesus Christ. All right, let's.
All right. One thing, it was sad to hear tearing down the Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, whatever. It's a freaking statue. It's just how. Yeah, whatever. I'm not gonna get political with it.
No.
We'll leave that one later.
Yep.
You have to get me good and drunk in order to freaking get into that stuff.
We'll talk about that.
We're not doing it on here, so.
Yeah.
Anyway. For the Freemason podcast, thank you for all who participated in the live chat. We appreciate it. And
always.
We'll catch you next time. So, for the Freemason podcast, I'm Right Worshipful Brother George Mudrick signing off.
And Worshipful Brother Ken signing off.
Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, brothers.
Thank you. Oh, I can't feel my ear.